channel. My name is Johanna, and for those of you who are new here, welcome. And for those of you who are returning, welcome back. Here on my channel, I do planner and planner-related videos, DIY tutorials, budget videos, and the occasional new release video of items that I've listed to my Etsy shop. And if that is of interest to you, please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you hit that little notification bell, you'll always be notified of when I do load a new video. And if you could also share this video, like this video, and comment below, that does help my channel grow, and that is truly appreciated. So we are doing lesson 5, I believe. Yes, I believe it's 5 of this hand lettering series from a beginner for beginners. And I don't think I said this last time, but if you have any sort of experience with hand lettering and you're looking for something a little bit more in depth, then this is not the video for you, at least not yet. This is truly for those who are either thinking about or have struggled with hand lettering in the past. And I'm a beginner. I think this is like my 6th or 7th week at it, and it's really just about learning this process together. All right, so as you know, if you've been watching any of my other videos, and I will link the playlist below, this is a DIY workbook that I had made. I had actually purchased some workbooks about a year and a half, maybe even 2 years ago. Had them at work, thought I was going to use them during my lunch break, never did. And then I saw Val from Nate's Mom Plans. She had purchased this, and I'm like, hey, I have the same book. So I basically took it apart and put it on rings, and then I also have my practice sheets, which is my big happy planner paper. And if you're interested in how I did this, I will also link that video below. But what we're going to work on today is the final 2 strokes in the 8 strokes that make up the modern calligraphy, brush lettering, hand lettering, whatever it is you want to call it, and that is the ovals and the reverse ovals. So just to be on the safe side, I will take out 2 sheets of paper just because I needed some extra paper last time and I had to go and get it. All right, so as you do at the beginning of every one of my lessons, I want you to go ahead and put the big E at the top of the page. And just like we did with last week's session, he is looking at something over there, so it's going to be a big E sitting on top of his friend's shoulders. And whether you have Happy Planner paper that you're using, whether you're in a regular notebook, whether you're in blank paper, it doesn't really matter what the size of it is right now. It's just, it'll help us with some of our lettering at the end of the lesson. So it is the big E, so that's our original guy, and then he's sitting on the shoulders of another E. So 2 E's stacked on top of each other. And my brother actually picked up some Pentel pens from Target. I'm not sure how much this was, but it does look a little funny because it doesn't look like the brush pens that we have been using, right? Because it's got that white tip, but it is actually a brush pen because you can push on it and get different sized strokes, which I think is pretty awesome. So I will be using this today, and I'll actually do a separate pen test for this and the Kuritakis that I really like, as well as the mild liners, and then I'll talk about the pros and cons, but that'll be in another video. But I wanted to point that out. The barrel is glittery. It's sparkly. But I don't see any glitter in the ink, so maybe it's just to zhuzh up the ink, but I wanted to point that out, but that'll be in another video where I actually talk about it. Oh, I just noticed there's glitter on this barrel as well. Shows you how much I'm paying attention. So, as we do, whoops, Let me go ahead and put the date. So it is Friday the 13th. So that lets us just know what our progress is. Now, as we do at the beginning of every one of our lessons, I want you to do some practice strokes. If you're like me, and I'm pretty sure quite a few are, you just don't have a chance during the work week to work on this. So today we'll get into just working on our upstrokes. So I want you to do a line of those. I want you to do a line of downstrokes. Then we're going to go into a line of overturns, a line of underturns. So you'll do a whole row of each of these. You'll do a compound stroke, which is that, so light and then heavy and then light again. And then you'll do a reverse compound stroke, where we come down hard, go up light, come down hard. You'll do your ascender, which wasn't done very well, but you'll do an ascender, and then you'll do a descender. So once you've done an entire row of these, and go ahead and bring me back, and we'll start the lesson. Alright guys, so hopefully you have your rows of the letters. Now it's a good thing I actually have that other sheet of paper, because just with our practice rows, just to get into the lesson, took up pretty much the entire paper, but we will just put that to the side for now. Now, as I've mentioned in previous videos, you can use a pencil. You are not going to get the thicks and the thins, but you can practice the differences in pressure. So if that's what you're using, again, that's perfectly fine. You just won't see as much payoff with a pencil that you will with a brush pen. So the two strokes we're going to be doing today is the oval, and we'll be doing the reverse oval. Now, depending on who you watch here on YouTube, some of them only have 6 strokes because, or maybe it's 7. Because not everyone, sorry, I had to think, not everyone mentions the reverse oval, but Kelly creates here on YouTube, and she's linked in the bottom below. She does, and I like the symmetry of having, if you have an overturn, you have an underturn. So if you have an oval, you have a reverse oval, and I'll show you why there is a difference in that. Now, when I did my very first attempt at brush lettering, when I was putting that workbook together, this is what stumped me. So I'm so glad for Catherine. And I mention her time and time again, because she said you should actually practice your strokes first, and that was just a complete, not a lifesaver, that seems super dramatic, but it was definitely a game changer, because it did really help me figure out how to make the letter. So for the oval, there's one of 2 ways that you can do it. You can either start, so let me do a box, because it'll give you an idea of where the placement is, because that it can make a difference. So the way that I tend to do it is I kind of start towards, like, the if I'm splitting this up in fourths, I start here at the latter part of it, and I come up thin, and then as I know I'm going to round the corner, I will come down thick, and then I will come up thin, and I will meet the top there. It is this part right here, if you have not tried an oval, that will be super awkward, because it seems like you're kind of breaking your pen. So you start thin, but then you come out thick, and then you got to come back up thin and meet the top. And that transition can be probably the most difficult. Now, I said there are 2 ways. The way that Kelly does it is she actually doesn't do the running start like I do. She kind of just makes her oval like that, and then she comes up thin, and then she actually does a little loopy thing. And I don't know if that's important to connect letters. Probably will be, because there's no other way to connect it. That's a problem for another day. We're just trying to make the letter. We're not trying to figure out how to connect it to other letters. So you can do a row of the ovals and try it out. Either try it with the running start and then coming down into it and then coming light back into it and connecting the full thing, or doing it like Kelly, where you don't do the running start and you just come up and you connect. And just connect for right now. Again, we'll figure out the transitions when we get to that part of the lesson. Now for me, maybe she does a little loopy thing because you can actually see, because you're coming up thinner, you can see a little gap. But if you place it right, you can do the little loopy thing that kind of masks that. Again, I prefer the running start, but that is completely up to you. Now, I can tell you right now that even though I tend to work up and down, my ovals are going sideways. So that is something I'm going to practice. I'm actually going to do, I'm going to finish up this row. I'm going to do another row just so I can practice it. And then once you've done either one row or two rows, whatever you want, to bring me back, and we'll work on the reverse ovals. All right, guys, so clearly I need to work on consistency. Again, for these first few lessons, consistency is really just something to strive for, but we just want to figure out how to make the letters. Being consistent with them, well, again, that's a problem for another day. Okay, but I mean, it's definitely something you can try to work on now, but really it's just getting comfortable with the strokes. So we did our oval. Now for our reverse oval, obviously we're going to go the other way. So you would do a running start, and I forgot to mention this in the beginning of the video. I still have not replaced this light here, which is pulling yellow. So I'm sorry if the shading or the, what is that called? I can't even think of the word right now. The shadows. The shadows. I'm sorry if the shadows are insane, because I've yet to be able to pick up a light bulb to place that with a white one. And because I'm right-handed, it just compounds it, because, yeah. Anyway, for the reverse ovals, you're going to do your running start, and we're going to go down the other way. Again, anytime you do a downstroke, you're going to press heavy. So whether you're going into it that way or whether you're going into it that way, it doesn't matter. The same rule applies. And so you come down heavy, and then you go up thin, and heavy, and go up thin. And if we do like Kelly does, then she doesn't do the running start. She just kind of curves heavy, comes thin, and joins the two. And that actually seems to be better by way of connections than the regular oval. Maybe because it's just, I don't know, for me it's more natural holding the pen this way. Although now that I'm looking at my hand, I do need to work on keeping it parallel, because right now I'm still holding it at an angle. But let's see how that feels. So kind of lean into it. Oh, that doesn't come out as nice to me. Yeah, I don't like how that feels at all. Anyway, go ahead and do a row or two, again, depending on you, on your reverse ovals, and then bring me back, and we'll go ahead and finish up the lesson. All right, so let's just, before we end here, because that's how we always end, let's do some letters and see why these two make a difference. So the letter that I struggled with at very first attempt was the lowercase a. So what you would do is you would do your oval, and bring it all the way up. Now you don't have to, because we're actually going to be coming down with a underturn, but just to make your letters consistent, always close up your oval and then come down with your overturn, or no, your underturn, so that you create your A, right? So that makes sense with how to make the letter A with an oval. And you're thinking, well, every letter would be an oval. Well, no, because if you are doing the letter, B, so we would start with an ascender, right? Because we have the tall with the little loop at the top, and then we would actually come into an oval because we are closing it. Because again, the tendency would be, well, I can just do the overturn, right? But what the overturn does, it stops there, so that'll make your H, but it won't make your B. So that's where the reverse comes into, because you would come down, but then you would close up your oval. So any letters that have the oval on the right hand of the line, then that would be a reverse oval. But if you do a D, that is just a regular oval, again closing it up, and then you would bring your ascender down to meet the line. Now, I believe once you are super familiar with this, once you have the hand memory and the motion memory and all of that, then you don't necessarily need to close it up, because you're going to know where to stop it. But for right now, just to make sure that you are building your letters with strokes, then I would advise to close up your O's, close up your reverse or ovals, just so that you can see this is how, let me do it this way. So this is one stroke right here. And then this is another stroke right here, yes? And because this is lighter, I don't want to get blue in my pen, I'm going to do a reverse, close it up, and then, and I would never build my B like this, but like I said, but I want to mess up my pen, and I don't have any others near me right now. But if you look at it from a stroke standpoint, then you can be able to see how you're going to be able to build your letters. And I guess the only caveat to that is for the letter C, you would do the reverse oval, but you would not join it. Yes, because all of the 8 strokes, all of from here to here, should comprise all of your letters, in theory, because the R, I think, is something like that. So I don't know even what that is, but I mean, we can have, out of the 26, we can have one offshoot. But again, if you are practicing your letters, even though we haven't learned that yet, it helps, at least it helps me to see, okay, this is what makes this, and this is what makes this. Again, we have no transitions yet. We're not building words, but I think right now you can see how we are able to build the alphabet with just these strokes here. So go ahead and, oh, actually, we've already done these here. So we're going to finish up the lesson. And finally, we have learned every single thing that's going to help us with our hello. So as you have been doing, go ahead and do your hello at the top of your page. And one day I'll actually be aware enough to bring multiple colors, and maybe we can see about doing a different color with different pens for different strokes, so that you can really see what this is comprised of. But today is not going to be that day. And so we'll finish up with our hello again. I always see this, so I'm starting straighter here. Then my L's tend to lean. My O's actually not that bad, and my mountains, whatever those are called, haven't learned what that is yet, still could use a bit of work by way of there really should be a seamless thing there. And then just so that we can practice a descender as well, we're going to do the word, let's do it here. We're going to do the word hump. So we're going to start with HU, and I've just decided, that sounds weird, that my M's are going to be the mountains rather than the line. And no, it's supposed to come up, so that's already a mistake. And then we would come down and bring that there, and then do our reverse and go there. So I'm hoping you can see that it is a bit light. That's pretty much the only con that I see with these mild liners is they are true mild liners, so they're very light. All right, guys, so this is essentially the lesson. We've finally learned all of the letters here. Between these two words, I think it hits all of the different strokes that we've learned. And if I can, I will try to do practicing throughout the week, but to be perfectly honest, right now I'm just focusing on other things after work, and so I'm probably going to be practicing with you guys just every Sunday. I can tell it, but you know, that is life. I am a beginner. If you're looking for anything more advanced, this is not the channel for you. Next week, we're actually going to start practicing different letters. And I'm going to tell you right now, the first 5 letters of the alphabet are a trap. So definitely look out for that video, and I'll explain more of what I mean by that. As always, guys, thank you so much for following me on this journey, and aloha.